All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started with Coach Traylor. JJ.
Hey, Jeff, how was your bye week? What did you do with your time off?
Time off. What is it with you guys taking just time off? Tuesday, we practiced. Wednesday, we practiced. Thursday, we lifted and we rehabbed. Now, Thursday night, we recruited. Friday, we recruited. Friday night, we recruited. Now, Saturday morning, I'll give you that. That was a little different. Got up early. I did about 2 hours of quiet time, actually. Then I got a couple of UAB games in before the football day started and watched Barry Lonnie in Illinois beat Nebraska. Then I watched Western Kentucky and North Texas just in case there's a rematch. Then I watched UAB. Went to a birthday party for my niece and got up Sunday morning and, church and came into work. So I guess I got, honestly, I'll tell you the biggest deal, JJ, on that is it's that sick, disgusting feeling you have on Saturday as a head coach that you're addicted to. It's nice. I didn't have that anxiousness in my gut. It was just nice to relax and second guess Barry Loney for his play calls instead of everybody second guessing me for mine.
How did I know you guys did some rehab stuff different last week. Any idea how the team has responded to that so far?
I know we had a ton of juice last night at practice. They said they felt a ton better. So they really have loved the cryo. And that's been a big boost to them. A lot of yoga, a lot of extra stretching. I really challenged Philo and Nick to just give me the absolute best plan they can for my kids this week. We've been through what I think will help us down the stretch. You always hate to lose 4 kids for the season, especially the quality of player and people that Rashad and Brandon Madison and Meach and Makai are. With the other 17 that have been in and out of there all year, you'd like for those guys to be as fresh, as healthy as possible when we take the field Saturday against a very, very good UAB football team.
Greg.
Jeff, was there anything new or different about UAB that jumped out that you saw this week that kind of changes how you're looking at them or how you prepare for them?
You could tell Zeno was way more comfortable playing. I've watched him play 2 weeks in a row now. They're still just a beautiful football team on the hoof. They're a very deep team. They've got 9 returning starters on defense. 7 of those are seniors, 6 super seniors. They're the number 1 conference leading defense. They have the number 1 runner in the country at running back. They have the number 1 receiver in the country at yards per catch. They're getting their starting quarterback back this week. They're undefeated at home. They're 27-3 at home. Since 2017, they've been the best team in the conference. A lot of respect for them. When the season started, y'all asked me who I thought the best team in the conference was. I thought they should have been picked to win it. I still stand by going into UAB. It's not just an opinion. It's factual. It's one of the toughest places to play in the country.
I was going to ask about the quarterback situation. You guys are preparing as if Hopkins will be back, or how does that alter your approach? Yeah,
we would have. They're both similar. They're both athletic kids. They run the offense very well. Brian Vincent's the head coach. BV's been the OC there for a while. And he does a really good job. They're based their offense off the stretch. They've got great play action pass off of it. They run inside zone very well. They run GY very well. They're the backup back. I don't know if you call him a backup back. He's fantastic as well. We gave up 300 yards to them last year at halftime. That was at the Alamo Dome where we played very well. So we know what we've got. Desperate people live differently than prosperous people. And they've lost 2 games in a row on the road. And I know they're really excited to go back home. They got a great chance to get back in this thing by playing us and then North Texas. So we know we'll get their best effort Saturday.
And last year's matchup against UAB was obviously a huge moment for the program with a very memorable ending coming down to the wire there. What bearing does that have on this year's meeting, if any at all?
I never see that stuff that way. I mean, obviously we know each other very well. That has to be considered. We we played them, you know, our first year here, and they did different things and we did different things. And, you know, that stuff is, at the end of the day, coaching matters, but it gets down to players. And, you know, our players know their players very well, and they know us very well. And we know it's going to be a heck of a ball game.
JJ.
Jeff, what do you think makes UAB so good at home?
You know, it's a great question. Dang it, I was going to quit saying that. Every week I do that. I don't know why that is what it is. It's interesting, psychology of all that. I've told y'all, you know, during COVID, I just wanted to know, is it fans? Like, what is that? And I went back and studied, and statistically, everything was the same as far as home and win losses. I think familiarity, who knows what that is exactly. I don't know. If you can figure it out, JJ, you let me know. We need to bust that. We need to bust it up this weekend.
Jeff, you guys are pretty good on the road yourselves too. Well, what is it about that process that your team kind of takes relishes in?
We believe in the triangle, and we really believe it's built to travel. And whenever you can play great defense, run the football, and be really good on special teams, it gives you a chance to win in anybody's place. It's a way to quieten the crowd. We know that you can only take 70 on that plane, and our guys take tremendous pride in being one of the 70. And when we go through stretch line and I knuckle them all up, I want to know the 70 I'm looking at are going to represent the triangle. And that's something our guys have taken great pride in for 3 seasons, and we expect them to do that again Saturday. It doesn't mean we're going to always win. There's a certain standard we hold ourselves to. There's a certain way we want to look and play the game. And when you do that, it favors you in winning games as well.
Wanted to ask you about UAB's defense. They seem pretty physical. Is that kind of a fair assessment of what they do?
They're just so old. They've been out there a long time together. They're sound. They mix it up. You know, they're an odd front. They're a 4-down front. They do a good job in the rear end. They've got great athletes, tradition. They got facilities. You know, Bill left that place in a really, really good spot for BV to take over. And kudos to Bill, you know, for, you know, most of the time when coaches leave, they leave the cupboard bare. And he left that cupboard full when he left. That's much respect for Bill for leaving BV a really good football team.
Greg.
Jeff, one of the things we didn't talk about coming away from the game against North Texas was the performance of Ernesto Alvarez coming back at right tackle. What did you sort of make of what he brought to the table for you guys?
I was just happy for him. He had really gotten down the dumps, had a similar season to Mackay where he just couldn't get on the field. And then Mackay finally got out there, and we know what happened. But Ernesto came out there and played extremely well. And I think that the bye week probably did him as good as anybody, because he had been really struggling, you know, pushing through the whole year. And for him, to get that relief on his ankle, you know, the same for Vinley and the same for, you know, T. Haynes. I expect Ernesto's ball is going to be really good for the next, you know, 4 to 6 weeks.
Was there any surprise given the ankle and just kind of not playing for a while that he was able to hold up as he did for all 97 snaps of that game?
That'd be the biggest surprise, is he played all 97 of them. That was surprising. We did not have that planned, but we got so injured, you know, in the other 2 spots that he just had to. And man, he played very well. That doesn't surprise me. He played well. It surprised me he played well for 97 snaps.
It sounds like as you guys were coming through fall camp that he was working more on the interior and less at tackle. What was the kind of that split like, and what role did you envision for him coming into the season?
Yeah, we did not visualize losing, you know, 5 offensive tackles. So he's just a guy that he's a plug and play any 5 spots. He could be your center. He can do it all. He's very valuable to our football team. Really happy for him. He's a great kid. You know, sister's dealt with some stuff this year as far as health, and that's been heavy on him. You know, he's from Cali, so it's a long ways from home, and really happy he has some success. He deserves it. He's a fantastic young man.
What is that, you know, differentiator that he and other offensive linemen have who are able to work at multiple positions where some guys seem kind of only more comfortable at one spot?
Who knows what that is? I'm just sure. Who knows? Somewhere back in his life, I imagine he must have played a lot of positions. Probably came from a good program. I really don't know why that is. Some kids just can be moved around to a lot of spots, and some guys are not that way. And Ernesto just happens to be one of those ones that you can move him around. I do think one of the benefits of our offensive line that allows a lot of our guys to be flexible is having Maka at center. He's a great communicator. We've had the middle of our offensive line together for 3 years now, in KD, T. Haynes, and Maka, which has allowed us to survive. It's I know I say it a lot, but it's truly a miracle we are where we are. We're still in this thing, and we've just been shuffling people up front like no one else in the country. And really proud of Maka for holding us together in there. It's a team effort always, but he's been the glue in there.
JJ.
Jeff, speaking of Maka, he got a pretty important award last week we didn't get to ask you about. Can you just, I guess, tell us a little bit about that and, how big that is for him?
Yeah, I like the way it was described to me. It's the Heisman of academics, and what a great honor. I'm really proud of all of our kids right now, man. The amount of community service those kids did, I gave them off, Friday and Saturday, and they didn't take any time off. It looked like to me. I mean, every video they're speaking as kids, they're giving back to our community. That's something I'm really excited about. With our NIL situation that our, the 210 has inspired, has done, our collectives, Bob Wills, all those guys that have done that, they've put a huge emphasis on community service, which I have, spoken of so much. I just think it's the city of San Antonio. So really happy for Maka. It's just it makes your community, everybody wants to win football games, but man, it makes you feel really good when you see 18 to 24-year-old men out serving people, because you know that football, when it's used correctly, is one of the greatest teachers of life there is. And I'm really proud of Maka and a lot of our kids for how they're serving right now.
Jeff, circling back to the offensive line, I wanted to ask you about the status of T. Haynes and Vinley. Both of those guys are banged up in the last game. How are they doing, and what do you expect from those two guys this week?
It'll be a game time decision again. I know y'all have heard that all year, but I think y'all believe me when I tell y'all that stuff. It is what it is. It's a game time decision. We've held them out this entire week just to try to get their legs back under them. We'll see what they look like tomorrow. And they're both such veterans. They both played so much ball. I don't think it's imperative that they practice all week, but I do think it's imperative because UAB plays an odd and a 4-down both, that we get, some reps to make sure they're ready to go.
And then where's the pain factor into the equation with 4 games left? Is there still a shot we see him this season?
There's hope. He is practicing again now, and we'll just see again who looks the best, and whoever looks the best will be out there Saturday. But I would say there's probably hope. I would say he's trending in the right direction.
Craig.
Jeff, injury part aside, how has Vinley sort of developed from the start of the season until now as he's continued to get settled in and get more reps at a new spot for him?
I would say him and Walker Beatty have, pretty much saved the day to replace, the loss of Payne, Meach, and Mackay. So it's been huge, and I'm really proud of him. I hope we can get him back. He's an important part of our offensive line. He's playing really well, and that's why we've been able to run the ball so well, just because our lines continue to get better. Can't say enough about what Coach Maddox and Coach Traylor have done up there to hold that group together. And obviously Frank Harris. It's a team effort always. And our tight ends take great pride in being a part of that unit. So, and all those guys do. Our receivers, they all block very well. And you got to be able to run the football, man, to win championships. And we want to do that.
Yeah, along those lines, if you're able to find some stability there, how do you think the offense might continue to change or could look different compared to the first few games of the season where it was a little bit more of a scramble?
Our defense has stayed relatively healthy other than Brandon and Rashad. So you can see how they've just continued to get better, where I think we have not. We've kind of spittered and sputtered throughout the year. Just gotten it done would be a good way to describe our offense. I would like to see, for the benefit of all of us, some sense of what word am I looking here for? Some sense of stacking some days. So I guess to steal from my own culture pillar, I'm watching Barry play Illinois, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it said they're saying 5 offensive linemen have taken, I think, almost every snap the entire year. And I'm like, man, what does that feel like? And I know he's running the same schemes we are. Exactly. We can call every single play, every formation move, because it's the same stuff we do. And it would be nice just to get some normalcy so our guys continue to get better up front, which makes our team better.
Your offense has obviously been pretty productive throughout the season, despite some of those issues. But in recent weeks, you've gone a little bit more kind of balanced, and even getting some more run calls in there compared to earlier in the year when it was pretty pass happy. Do you prefer kind of the way it's looked the last few weeks, or how do you compare it to when you were starting out the season and it was a lot more quick passing?
I've told you a million times, balance for us is whatever the defense gives us, can we do that? We really don't get into statistics. I mean, if we were just to be at the radio show and we were to pull out a napkin and you were to say, like, what do you really think is perfect? I would say 65% run, 35% pass, and 50-50 yardage, because I like to throw chunk plays. That's just probably a 54-year-old, 33-year veteran speaking. Where if you would have asked me when I was 30, I'd have said I want to throw for 400 and rush for 100, and who cares? But it's not a good, sound, sustainable way to play football. You've got to be able to run the football when everybody in the building knows you're going to run the ball. And that means there's one extra guy in there, and you either got to run over him or you got to be able to use quarterback run game. And if you can't do that, then you got to throw it. And then the media is going to get onto you because you couldn't run out the 4-minute offense, and you got to answer to that.
And along the lines of those run game, with the success we've seen from Kevorian Barnes lately, what goes into the decision of how to split carries going forward between him and Brady and Traylon Smith?
Again, it's just a belief I have. We didn't like Sincere carrying it all the time. We think you need to have 3 backs for sure, and 2 getting the main workload, and you'd like that third one to get sprinkled in, so when one of those 2 gets nicked up, he can come right in there. And Traylon's been nicked up all year. Brendan's been nicked up, and Kevorian's been healthy. And if you look at who's playing the best for us right now, Walker Beatty was fresh. Ernesto Alvarez was fresh. Kevorian Barnes is fresh. Those are the guys that are playing the best right now because they're the freshest. So we have really tried hard this week to get a fresh football team, so everybody looks like Ernesto and Walker and Kevorian.
Flipping over to the defensive side, how do you evaluate and how have you seen your team's ability to rush the passer progress through the season? It seems like in recent weeks there's been a little bit more pressure.
We've gotten home a little more. Our TFLs have been normal, but our sacks, which leads to turnovers, it has been down, and that's been picking up lately. We're just getting more confident. We're learning the system better. We lost a lot of players over there, and we expected this year the offense is going to have to carry our defense early, and now our defense has kind of been carrying the offense lately because those guys are maturing. I still think our best football is out there. I know I keep saying it, but we've yet to come home and just said we played an absolute complete ball game, and we compete the way we want to compete. We've just not been clean in all 3 phases for the entire game yet, and I still think that game's out there.
What was your impression of Jamori Robinson's first game action since you made the switch over to the defensive line? Sorry.
We're excited for Jamori. He's taking great pride in the work. You just get to be turned loose more in those positions down there. When you're at the wheel of the sound, there's just so much more pass responsibility involved. where do you drop and who do you match? And is it man? Is it zone? What's the coverage? When you're one of those interior guys, you get to go chase the ball, and he likes to do that.
Who else from the defensive line group are the guys you look to when it's 3rd and long and you want to kind of generate some pressure, when you want to get your best pass rushers out there?
Just whoever gets on, we don't care. We try to rotate them all so much that whoever's the freshest and whoever's hot that night. Obviously, in our blitz packages, we've got certain looks that we think they might get home on, but it's just it never turns out the way you think it's going to. It seems like the very thing you think the guy's going to get home, it's always the other one. So the biggest deal is who's the freshest and who's hot that night. Just get home. And we've had different guys step up so many different weeks. It's not like last year where everybody just, circling on Clarence. We've got a lot more guys getting home.
So
or trying to get home, I should say.
So when you guys are managing the defensive line rotations, it's not like here's the pass rush group and here's the run stop group. It's just kind of everybody cycles in, or do you have sets for different situations?
It just depends on the play call, Greg. I mean, that's what defense is no different than offense. And they're calling plays over there too. And so it just depends on the call and what we think they're going to do or what's going on in the moment. I mean, it's just, if they would do what they're supposed to do, it's a lot easier, but those guys change stuff up on you and you're not quite sure what the protection might be. So yeah, we've got guys that are, I know the point you're trying to make. We've got guys that do certain things better than other guys. But I'm probably not going to get on the interview when I know the BV is going to be watching this thing and let him know who, where, and when. But I'd love to shoot the bull with you at the radio show sometime, talk about it.
Good deal. Good deal. I'll wait for that.
JJ.
Jeff, looking at the Conference USA standings, it's what's your gauge on this conference so far? It seems like it's hard to get week to week, things change.
It's what I tell y'all every week, and y'all don't want to hear me. Anybody can beat anybody every week, and this week showed it again. You know, and it's tough. It's tough. I don't think there's any difference between any of us. We're all about one score away from each other, and that's what it is. Man, I just think it's going to come down to the very end, and I feel sorry for the guy that's got to interpret all the tiebreakers, because I have a feeling there's going to be quite a few of them in this league.
Along those lines, you guys seem to have a little bit of cushion at this point of the season. How important is that moving forward?
Okay, JJ, how much more of a cushion could you have? How much less of a cushion could you have than a 1-game lead? Is that even mathematically possible? If you're going to say cushion, 1-game lead, is that a cushion, JJ? I hate to know what kind of pillow you sleep on at night. That's cushion, man. You must sleep on a brick. That's about as slim as it can be. I know what you're saying because we're in the lead, right? So it's always better to be in the lead. And if that's a cushion, I'm not sleeping very well, JJ.
Anything else for Coach Traylor this morning?
Yeah, well, I mean, just to be fair, you only have to be in the top 2 to make the championship game, and you have the tiebreaker on the 1-loss team. You don't have to be JJ like that, man.
There's 4 games left. What are y'all looking at? A cushion? I mean, y'all okay? I tell you what. Since we got such a cushion, we'll take all the starters out and we'll just play our backups and our walk-ons from here on out. Since we got such a great cushion, is that what I'm hearing JJ and Greg recommend right now? Just need to know. Just asking.
Thanks, Jeff.
See y'all. Appreciate y'all. God bless. Birds up.